This is the weekend edition of Fear and Greed, daily business news for people who make their own decisions. I'm Adam Lang, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Adam.
Our weekend show, a little bit different. It's about the two of us nominating what we think is the biggest story of the week, the most remarkable story, the sleeper story of the week, and our favourite story. Now, Sean, as you know, this is a debate, and sometimes it gets to be a very spirited debate, and we are the contestants, so we need a judge. Now, usually I'm the judge, and I draw the ire of you, Sean, and Michael Thompson. Whenever I judge you the loser in a category, I tend to get some feedback. The winner feels quiet satisfaction, while the other one generally gets cross with me. Listeners, I think, have missed Michael Thompson for this week, but he's back.
Do you reckon they missed him?
You're heckling the judge early. Michael is back in a new capacity this weekend edition, an unprecedented capacity in a hitherto never seen before. At last, Michael Thompson is no longer the player, the wannabe champ, bagging the system and the judge whenever something goes wrong. He's still off the pitch today, but double butt, like LL Cool J said, don't call it a comeback because I've been here for years. Michael Thompson is back as Judge Thompson, and Sean and I will duke it out for the championship belt of the weekend edition. Michael, stretched up, limbered up, and fresh from a trip to the worlds of the Gold Coast for a National Lampoon-style family holiday. Wow. Loosen those dulcet tones. The game, Fear and Greed style, is on. Are you ready, Judge Michael?
I was ready 90 seconds ago, Adam.
I think that's the best work Adam's ever done on this show.
I think that was, you know what that reminded me of, Sean? That reminded me of Roy and HG.
Yeah.
Do you remember how whenever they would start?
Yeah.
And
the monologue.
King Wally Otto in the soundproof booth.
Yep. And it was just extraordinary. It was just stream of consciousness, and it was just, here it comes, and I'm not going to take a breath for the next 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what we just experienced from Adam. Of course, that's where the fun ends, because I'm the judge today. And I'm looking forward to this. I have longed for this for some time. Would you like to know the criteria of what I'm looking forward to?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
We've worked on the normal criteria, so...
Well, exactly. And I have used those criteria. Normally, the judging criteria are topicality, timeliness, economic impact.
Familiar with these.
Subjective bias, and melodrama.
Good criteria.
Today, the main kind of criteria is actually vengeance. That's what I'm looking for today. I'm here for a bit of revenge. I'm going to penalise harshly because for way too long I've had to put up with the barbs and the abuse from the two of you, the interruptions and the sledging during my stories from Sean.
This is going to be the longest show on record because the judge...
What a preamble.
The judge will talk and talk and talk.
I have been in a business news vacuum for the last week. So I'm hearing these stories for the first time. I have got my pen ready to give you points. I've got another pen ready. It's just the same pen in another hand, ready for your demerit points, which I shall also be issuing. Let's get into the biggest story. Enough of this time wasting. Get going.
Holy cow. Adam, go first. Relieve us.
All right, thanks. I sense some foreboding and peril here for me this episode, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. There's some melodrama for you, Michael. My choice this week, Australia falling behind in rate cuts. When we compare ourselves with the world, Australia is increasingly being left behind on interest rate decisions, with more than a dozen central banks, including the US, UK and China, cutting rates in recent months. No, while Australia's cash rate remains at a 12-year high, global peers are confident they've controlled inflation and are easing policies to support economic growth. This decision will have major ramifications for Australia's competitiveness, consumer spending and our economic stability compared with other territories around the world. The Reserve Bank governor insists that inflation is still too high and the employment market may still be a bit too strong, but we're getting out of synchronisation with global trends. For Australian businesses, this relatively high interest rate environment means tougher borrowing conditions and a higher cost of debt, potentially keeping the economic brakes on for too long and holding back growth. As we head into 2025, the pressure mounts for the RBA to reconsider the approach, especially with consumer sentiment improving in the last couple of months to near neutral. It's been at 30-year lows and is now heading towards neutral. That is actually an improvement. Yet under the strain from high borrowing costs and lower spending by Australians, we're all still trying to navigate the cost of living. So the lag in policy adjustment may be Australia's Achilles heel, and the repercussions could define the economy for much, much longer. Sean.
Well, first, just a question from the judge, if that's okay.
Yes,
do the stories have to have anything to do with what's happened in the last week or not? Or they can just be rants about what they think about the world?
At the moment, it feels like this is just an editorial. On just what Adam's been wanting to say for a long time, but hasn't had the platform to do so.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not giving you...
you're not prejudging. I get that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Important insights for the world, I think.
Very, very,
very worthy.
Very important insights into Adam's mind. Sean, what have you got for us?
So I'm going to talk about something that happened this week. Crazy, I know. Crazy.
It's not one of the criteria.
Please be space. Please be space.
If you were a man coming from Mars and you came this week and you saw the Trump trade going on, you would think, holy, what would be, you'd think, holy Mars, holy Venus, holy, I don't know. The Trump trade story is just huge, particularly because so many people can lose money. In fact, it's probably quite unsustainable. This week, Bitcoin's value jumped to nearly $90,000 a unit, fueled by Donald Trump's election win. All these new crypto-friendly politicians nearly doubled this year. Michael loves his Bitcoin. No interest in bond yields whatsoever, but he loves his Bitcoin, and Bitcoin ETF's the story. I know you have no interest in bond yields. However, as you know, Michael, bond yields forecast future interest rates, and they're rising. All this potential spending from Trump means higher interest rates for longer. US Fed Chair Jerome Powell yesterday morning came out and said there's no need to hurry with rate cuts. He's obviously scared. This is hitting Australians. National Australia Bank this week came out and said interest rates probably won't fall till May next year. Commonwealth Bank boss Matt Comyn, he said, yeah, they'll go down in February. Probably, might be a bit later. So we're talking about higher interest rates for longer here. That's what we found out this week. The US dollar surging. Aussie dollar, 64 cents. What if you're going to holiday in the US, hey? What if you're filling up your car with petrol, which, of course, oil is priced in US dollars, higher petrol prices? And then you got this equity surge. Good news. Not so sure. Last time Trump came into power, there wasn't a Trump trade because no one thought he'd actually get the job. In fact, the S&P 500 had gone backwards the previous 12 months. This time around, it's up more than 20% and still surging. Is that sustainable? Not sure. Bitcoin, cryptos, bond yields, equities, Aussie dollar. These are the things that impact the everyday man and woman, or woman, with a super fund. Far and away, not only the biggest story, but the biggest story of this week.
Stories, I think, Sean. I was just thinking, Michael. I was just thinking about, all the names of those spacecraft that you love so many. Not so much Challenger, but Discovery, Atlantis, Endeavour. I don't think there was one called Omnibus, was there? I wonder if that's one of the criteria.
If you don't understand the Trump trade, Adam, that's not my fault.
All right. Now, to deliver my judgment, and it shall be swift and brutal. Actually, it will not. It will not be swift.
It won't be swift.
It'll be brutal.
Where to begin? Goodness me. So, look, Adam, really, don't show me your watch, Adam. That's a Sean Aylmer tactic, tapping his watch and timing me as I'm talking. That's a demerit point.
Yeah, absolutely.
-1. Okay, one for Sean. He's now holding up his phone to show me his timer.
Already, we're almost a minute into the judging criteria and haven't got off the mark yet.
I have. You've both lost a point each. I think I'm going pretty well. So, Adam, yours really, that was an editorial. And it was an interesting editorial. I enjoyed this kind of speculation.
Come on.
I enjoy the speculation about when rates are going to come down. And look, Michelle Bullock has made it very, very clear on multiple occasions that we are going to run our own race. And
this
so,
week?
look,
Did she make that clear this week?
Sean, another demerit point, interrupting the judge. You are now down 2. Considering if you had waited just, 10 seconds, you would have seen that I was on your side on this, that she has made that point repeatedly in the past. And really, I just don't know whether that was the biggest story of this week. Because keeping in mind, I have been in this business news vacuum. So in order to find out what the biggest story of the week is, who really serves that purpose best? And I think on this particular occasion, it was Sean.
Oh, that hurts you saying that. That hurts you saying that.
No, because wait, I haven't added your demerit points in yet, have I?
Right,
so look, I admire the fact that you managed to combine so much in there to really inform me about what was the biggest story. Trump trade, obviously. the Aussie dollar, petrol, Bitcoin, bond yields, impact on interest rates, impact on superannuation, equities, the whole lot. I really feel educated. You did it using an omnibus story. I do not like omnibus stories because I've been penalised for them in the past where I combine multiple things into. So you lost it. You had a demerit point for that one. You had a demerit point for your disrespect of the judge. You also lost a point for your prejudgment of me, assuming that I wasn't interested in bond yields and I'm only interested in crypto. Yes, I'm aware that I'm now approaching the 2-minute mark.
No, I started late. It's 2.5 minutes. I got add 30 seconds to that.
And you just lost another point. I find this
Sean,
remarkable.
this could be the first competition where we actually walk away negative.
Yeah, I know.
No one's won anything. We've just gone
At the
backwards.
moment, Sean, in theory, you won that story, but you have managed to actually talk your way into a losing position.
Moral victory, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it
Moral
is.
victory.
I don't want that victory.
Yeah, no, that's right. No, that's nice. Be nice to Adam. That's good on you, Michael.
It is 1-0 Sean's way. On the story count. But just wait till we get to the end, to the points, when I've got to just try and tally up this dog's breakfast of a score sheet that I've created for myself.
Let's move on. Let's
please move on.
No. Sorry, you're the judge. You don't get to run the show today. It's about us. Most remarkable story. I'll do it quickly,
Yes.
Adam. Is that okay?
Go. Yep. Go, Sean.
What's going on in Mali is pretty remarkable. The boss of Resolute Mining, Terry Holohan, and 2 others are being detained by the ruling military. I never know how to say this word. Junta, Junta, junta. The ruling military junta over a $250 million tax dispute. The Malian government, basically they want greater control over the mining industry. They have said they want 30% of each mine. Late last week, Mr. Holohan and the 2 others were questioned over suspicions of false evidence and misappropriation of public goods. Mr. Holohan totally denies the allegations. In fact, when he left Australia to fly to Mali to address these allegations, he said, we know this is coming. We know this is what they're worried about and it's not fair. We're going to go and do that. Well, actually, I don't know whether he said that, but that's what the media are reporting. It's now emerged that the Malian government want $250 million from the mine. That's according to Bloomberg. Resolute has 80% of a big mine in Mali. It also operates in Senegal and Guinea, their neighbouring countries in Africa to Mali. Certainly, I hope Mr. Holohan and the 2 executives are okay. That's the most important thing. Resolute's share price is down 40%. But, wow, doesn't it demonstrate just how scary it is to be operating in some of these regions? It is incredibly risky business. $250 million. It's not a ransom, so we can't say that, but they do want $250 million. It sounds like the company is talking about paying half now, half later, but just a truly remarkable story. I can't read Michael's face because it's actually a very serious story because, people's lives are at risk here. So we have to be fairly sensible about this one.
I'm just listening because I find this story incredible. It really does have everything, that story. So no, I am complete without kind of prejudging again. I have a tendency to go off early, don't I? Adam, would you like to nominate your story here?
You're hosting again, aren't you?
I know. I did it very sneakily just then, didn't I? Yes, I'm taking
Sean's
back control.
story is a ripper. And, sometimes we kind of have to draw the exceptional issues from around the world to remember how fortunate we are to have rule of law and capitalism and a democracy.
See, don't go the old nice guy thing, Adam, where you're trying to get extra.
Sorry.
Sean's story is excellent.
I'll stop.
Have a crack.
But I am going to do a blatant play for the judges' favourite topics.
Oh,
Michael, do you like air travel?
Adam, I do. Please go
Excellent.
on.
Rising domestic airfares, Michael. That's what's going on post the Rex collapse. So, Michael, this week.
Sorry, Adam. Just pause for one quick moment. Just got one demerit point for Sean for yawning, disrespect to his fellow competitor. Please, I'm sorry, Adam, for that interruption. Please go on with your story about airlines.
Yes, taking a very Speaker of the House approach. Very good.
It's justice. That's what this is.
Yes. Domestic airfares, Michael. They've soared. So following Rex's exit from key metropolitan routes and indeed their economic challenges, we've seen a highlighting of Australia's airline competition crisis, with Qantas/Jetstar and now Virgin controlling 98% of the market. An ACCC report this week shows that since the end of July, prices on big city routes are up 13.3% last quarter, even though fuel costs are 40% lower than a year ago. So some prices on these routes have jumped by up to 95%. And this sheds a very consumer-friendly light on maintaining competitive pressures in what we think is an essential industry. So for many Australians, especially those in regional areas, the lack of competition limits travel options and burdens budgets. The federal government's $80 million bailout for Rex is only a temporary fix. That'll keep them flying regional routes until June next year, after a next federal election. This Qantas and Virgin fare hike points to the larger issue of limited market competition, and that affects not just pricing, but service quality and availability across the board. In another element of the remarkable, Qantas and Virgin responded by pointing the fare issues at the monitoring period and not their pricing. They say seasonal event demand for Coldplay tickets and travel and football finals are to blame, and they kind of wish that the ACCC just picked a different period that they'd monitored, because in other times they say, oh, that's not really how much it's changed.
You're becoming very Michael-esque, Adam. You really are. You're going on and on and on and on.
I'm learning from one of the greats, Sean. So the high cost of domestic flights could have ripple effects on local tourism and business, and the story's even more remarkable because it underscores the consequences of oligopolistic market conditions in essential services. Consumers get hit with a lack of choice and higher prices.
The O word.
Oh, the big O, Adam. I've run out of ink. I'm giving you that many extra points.
Don't know how to spell the word. Oligopolistic.
Another whack.
So you have finished?
Yeah.
What was the point of the story?
The ACCC's great work this week on truly,
God,
like the name is on the tin, Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, right? Looking after competition and consumers who desperately need good competitive air travel.
This is, look, you know what? On paper, if there was any other judge, this should not actually be a competition, this category, right? But for me, this is really, really tough. Because Sean's story is truly remarkable.
Worthy.
Yeah, it is.
No,
and because of the
remarkable.
Yeah, it is. It is truly remarkable because of the amount of money that we are talking about here, the whole element of sovereign risk. Adam, though, you were clearly listening when I said that one of the most important criteria today is subjective bias. I wanted to hear space stories. I wanted to hear aircraft and airline stories. And really, you flattered me very nicely during that story. You complimented me. I don't remember how, but I've written it down. All I wrote down was flattery and underlined it 3 times. And purely on the strength of that flattery and those 3 underlines and the fact that Sean lost 3 demerit points during that story, you, Adam, have won most remarkable story. It is 1-1. I am staggered by this decision.
Okay.
So look, you now know what I'm looking for. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with a
Michael,
sleeper story of the week.
No.
No?
Sorry, no.
Oh.
Let's take a quick break and we'll come back with the sleeper story of the week.
All right, welcome back to the Fear and Greed Weekend Edition. Very unorthodox this week. What a spirited competition it is. Sean, we're now going to do the Sleeper Story of the Week nominations. Why don't you go first?
The drums are beating on the superannuation industry, a $4 trillion honeypot that pretty much has grown without too much government intervention since 1987. Super is good. Everyone agrees with that. But this week, the soft, dark underbelly emerged. The Australian Securities and Investment Commission launched action against one of the biggest super funds, CBUS, alleging that the $90 billion plus fund failed to adequately service grieving families and disabled people. The allegation is that the fund delayed paying up to $20 million in death and disability payments. Now, a few things in this. It is outrageous if it is proven correct. It hasn't been to court yet. Let's say it is proven correct. There are fines, we're talking kind of $40, $50 million here. Who's going to pay that? The members? The CEO, Christian Falk, apologised. He wouldn't say where the money for the fines would come. He also defended payments CBUS has made to CFMEU, the union. He said they're of incredible value, though people are wondering whether that's the case. Is this benefit payment delay thing just a CBUS thing? That's what we're all wondering at the moment. I guarantee you, every big super fund at the moment, every one of them are working very hard to see whether or not they've made their correct payments. We've had the Banking Royal Commission. We've had the supermarket scandal. We've had airline blow-ups. I reckon super funds are the next one in line to feel the absolute blowtorch of scrutiny on their benefits to members, how they perform. I reckon this is going to be a mega story going forward. My sleeper story of the week.
Sean, can I ask you one quick question before we go on to Adam?
Yes.
Would you say that in keeping with the definition of a sleeper story, which is one that
Yes.
that the fuse has been lit on this story?
Yes.
During the week, would you say that the fuse has been lit this week?
The fuse has been lit. The blowtorch has been lit.
Oh, golly, everything is being lit. This is amazing. I am just...
Okay, man.
Sorry. Adam, over to you.
Okay. One of my favourite topics, and the fuse has been lit at last on productivity.
Oh.
You can actually see Michael's shoulders slump.
I tell you what, the moment you started with the fuse has been lit, these goosebumps started to prickle. And then you brought in the big wet blanket of productivity. Anyway, look, it's good luck.
All right, Judge Thompson, fair, handsome as you are, see if you can apply good judgment to this one. Slowing wage growth and its implications for rate cuts. The fuse has been lit. Wage growth in Australia has slowed. Public sector wages have been outpacing private sector wages for the first time in 4 years. So this development, though seemingly quiet and maybe a little envy-inspiring from us private sector workers, is a sleeper story with very big implications. Lower wage growth helps to relieve inflation pressure, making the cause for interest rate cuts stronger as early as next year. Now, no doubt, lower wage growth is also a symptom of our endemic productivity challenge. We need to be investing in our capacity to be producing more from people, processes, and technology. The Reserve Bank is likely keeping a close eye on these trends as wage pressures were a major factor in previous rate hikes. With both public and private sectors cooling, the economic environment is set to now shift. The story is essential for business, consumers, and policymakers, as it could signal a change in Australia's interest rate outlook, with potential rate relief easing household pressures and business costs. There is hope in those wage stories, delayed hope, for the prospect of easing the cost of borrowing for us all. That's it, Michael.
Judge, a moment of your time.
Yes, of course, Sean. Please.
Just between you and I,
Mm-hmm.
right, my fellow competitor has managed to do 2 economic stories, the first one and the third one, without mentioning the labour force unemployment rate statistics this week. Now, there's a skill in that to actually do economic stories without mentioning the biggest economic story of the week. As you know, Judge, I don't do economics. I'm not for the rest of the year. So I just want to help him out by letting you know unemployment figures came out 4.1%, lower numbers than the previous 6 months. So that kind of adds to the story that Adam brought up. Just so you know.
Lovely cooperative approach, Sean. Thank you.
Oh, you were listening. I didn't realise.
You know what, Sean? You've just earned back that point that you lost earlier for disrespect.
Damn it.
And look, Adam, I'm noticing a tendency to editorialise. Really, which it feels hypocritical of me to point this out because I have been known just to waffle once. It happened last year at some point.
Didn't happen again.
No, but
Triple but.
on this occasion, it did feel like it was a journey through wages and productivity via the mind of Adam Lang. And I just don't think it has what it takes to beat Sean's, well, look, what I'm conservatively calling a super story. Because I think it is an extraordinary story what is going on with Cbus at the moment. The sector is, as you pointed out, Sean, is just it is just so significant. It is so enormous. And what was the words you used? Soft, dark underbelly.
Underbelly.
Of the big super funds is starting to be exposed. And I think that this could be the week in which the fuse was lit. So it's you, Sean. It is 2-1 now.
He's done it.
I'm trying so hard to be nice, to shut up about it, because I don't want to lose any more points.
Good.
So
well done.
Thank you, Michael, and excellent effort, Adam.
Look, you've both done a great job in that category. One of you did a better job than the other.
And someone forgot the unemployment rate.
That was actually the same person, yes, that I was referring to. But who knows what's coming up in the favourite story category? It could be all about unemployment.
It could. Good point. Adam, over to you.
It better bloody not be.
At this point. So Adam's favourite story, what's it going to be? Productivity? Nah, kind of done that. He's already done this show. Reform?
Could be.
No, he's done that. Maybe tax? I don't know. Go, Adam.
Could be.
There you go. Yeah, let's see.
Well, in a way, Sean, it's all of those things.
Oh,
dear Lord.
Federal government.
I'm sorry.
I don't want the judge to prejudge, but you're in trouble.
Judge, give yourself a demerit.
I wasn't aware that I said it out loud, and I apologise. Please do not consider that a sign of prejudgment.
Federal government backs social media access for over 16s only. Remarkable.
Oh, this is good. This is better than I expected.
Yeah.
It's got everything. The Australian government's proposal to restrict social media access to individuals 16 and older has captured public interest internationally and especially in Australia, and especially among parents and commercial competitors to big social media. So this proposed change in policy aims to protect younger users from the mental health impacts of social media, an issue that is gaining bipartisan support. And this favourite story, for me, resonates with the popular direction for governments to safeguard younger generations while balancing technology freedoms. Now, if enacted, this policy would make Australia one of the strictest regulators of youth social media across the world. The story is a standout because it addresses, obviously, what is a significant social issue, aiming to protect the well-being of Australia's young in a digital age that's often overwhelming for them. Similar to the age restrictions on traditional content, like age ratings and restricted access to films, television, this brings those newer digital formats closer in line. Now, if this plays out right, it could lead to identification requirements for content, dissuade trolling, and a much more consistent set of regulation for all media content in Australia and all media operators. And that's why it's my favourite story for the week.
Well played. Well played, Adam. You and I have kind of got kids that are at that age or beyond it. Michael, his kids are coming into those years. Well played.
Honestly, Adam, you set like that was like reverse melodrama because you set up that story.
Very much unintended.
I was ready to walk out of the studio at your intro. Like this combines productivity and all of these things. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And then you just delivered. Well done.
Thank you.
Sean, what have you got?
There is nothing more melodramatic than the one and only Donald J. Trump. I didn't want to talk about him ever again, but my word, he just keeps giving, doesn't he? I mean, all I'm going to do is just go through the people he has appointed to different jobs this week.
Oh, dear.
Let's start with you're going to have to actually say these are the more sensible ones. So Marco Rubio, he's the guy who's taken an aggressive stance against China. Actually, twice Beijing have hit him with sanctions, sort of banned him. So he's Secretary of State. He'll be the guy dealing with him. Mike Waltz, who's actually said China's a greater threat to the US than any other nation. He'll be the National Security Advisor. Excellent. You can see how relations between China and the US are going to go. Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii. Big fan of Tulsi. Absolutely no experience in intelligence. So what's she going to do? Director of National Intelligence. Then we had Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Both entrepreneurs. Vivek made his money in a pharmaceutical company. Elon Musk is Elon Musk. SpaceX. Elon Musk.
Oh, space. Sorry, I finally picked up on what you were saying.
Yeah, it took a while.
I'm like, is Sean okay? sounds like he's having some kind of a medical episode here. But no, I just realised it was a play for extra points, and you got them. Well done.
Excellent. Co-lead of what's called the Department of Government Efficiency. That is Monty Python-esque at its finest, I would say. Doge, that's right. They actually talked about the Doge meme, Doge coins, Department of Government Efficiency. Elon Musk has previously said about $2 trillion he reckons he can get out of government. $2 trillion out of $6 trillion. I mean, you wouldn't want to be on a social benefit, would you? So that's Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Then we get Matt Gaetz, Attorney General. That's the top law enforcement job. A friend of Donald Trump. He was actually investigated for sex trafficking, but not criminally charged. He was also investigated for illegal drug use. He was investigated for accepting improper gifts. That's the fella. But my personal favourite, Pete Hegseth, the Fox News Weekend co-host, the Ron Burgundy of the cabinet. He will be leading the Pentagon. Now, Pete Hegseth is mostly known for his attacks on wokeness. This is a man who is going to be leading the Pentagon. We're talking about 3 million people here. We're talking about armed forces, all this sort of stuff, generals, chiefs of staff, all that. Incredibly pivotal period for global conflict at the moment. The man who spends his weekends on Fox News and has no experience in the area. He was a veteran, but no experience in the area. Yep, he is going to be the head of the Pentagon. Now, many of these have to get through Congress, so we can't say they've got the job. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy do not need to go through Congress, but many of the others. But my God, the fight from not just the Democrats, but as the Republicans as well is crazy. I don't mean to be mean to Americans, but they voted for Trump. They're going to get what they voted for. Michael.
Well, this is very tough. You know, one of my greatest challenges today?
Not talking too much?
Yes, that is a constant challenge. But I've had to listen to everything that is said. Usually whenever, Sean, you're doing your story or Adam, you're delivering a judgment, that's a good bit of scroll time on Instagram.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
So we scrolling away as you talk. And I've had to listen to everything. And you know what? I realized? This is actually a really informative show.
As the regular participant in the show, it disturbs me somewhat that you've only just realised that.
Oh, goodness me, this show actually has value. Oh, golly. Well then. Adam, the social media ban. You know what? I like this story. And I like it because, it feels like it is going to be a very difficult thing to enforce, but what it does, it gives parents an option. It gives parents something that they can blame so that they are not the bad guy in this. Mm-hmm. That they can blame a law. They are just enforcing a law. And I like that because all of a sudden there is a tool there for them to use, because the idea of teens, and obviously my kids are younger than that, the idea of them being on social media when they are older terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me. So I really do like this story. As I said, I've been in a bit of a business news vacuum over the last week. There really, apart from the fact that there was kind of the official announcement of this during the last week, there wasn't that much new about it, in that so much of it had already been kind of conveyed previously.
Adam's face, he's gone to the pursing mode.
You know what? Don't really appreciate that facial expression, Adam. That's a demerit point. That's the what I call the pursed lips penalty. Sean, Donald Trump and his appointments. The fact is that here there was something new every single day, wasn't there? And just because you're right, not all of these are necessarily going to get through. And the other one that you mentioned, the other point that, look, oh no, I'm turning into Adam. I'm introducing new material that wasn't in this episode, but there was on the Friday episode of Fear and Greed, and talking about Kevin Rudd and the potential for him to continue as Australia's ambassador to the US, and the fact that the newly appointed, or the incoming Deputy Chief of Staff to the White House, Donald Trump's new appointment, posted a picture of an hourglass with the sand running out for Kevin Rudd. It all paints this picture, doesn't it?
Yep.
Anyway, that's really kind of irrelevant, because that wasn't material that was introduced during your argument, Sean. It has never stopped Adam from introducing his own material during judgments. I think on this occasion, considering the scale and the likely global impact, which is actually not one of the judging criteria at all, is it? It's just subjective bias. It's just melodrama. You know what, Sean? I think you have to win this one. And so that makes it 3-1. Now, if you could just kindly just talk amongst yourselves.
Let's just leave it, because this is the longest episode we've ever done. And I am very confident. I'm very, very confident that it's not me doing longer stories. I'm very confident, Adam, that it's not you doing longer stories. I'm also very aware that what I've just said may earn another demerit point, but Michael's maths is pretty dodgy, so he's focused there trying to work out 7, carry the 2, add the 1, Pythagoras' theorem, a squared equals b squared plus c squared.
Okay.
There we go.
How many decimals in pi?
Mm-hmm.
So what we've actually got here is a rather unusual circumstance where there were several categories where one person won, but then they lost it on demerit points. Okay. Adam. Well done. A score of, this is not going to sound very good, but really it is a good score on the Michael Thompson scale.
Of minus...
No, you got 74.
Wow.
Out of 300 possible points. No, it's 74 out of 100. And Sean, you managed an admirable 78 And that includes your
Included the demerit points.
Including your
That's
demerit
a
points.
landslide.
78 to
Landslide.
74. And it was only because you got a perfect score on your sleeper story.
Oh.
That was a good story. That was a great story. Can I wrap up the show, or are you going to do that?
You cannot. You cannot. Adam, do you mind if I wrap up the show?
No, go right ahead,
Actually,
Sean.
before we go, one final point.
Oh, here we go.
You know what?
No
one ever praises the judge.
No.
Can we cue up the music here at this point? You know, like the Grammys, Sean, and get the shepherd's hook on and drag him off.
I would like to officially say what you've proven today, Michael, is just how good a judge Adam actually is.
Oh my God. My haste to pick up my pen for demerit points.
No. It's game over.
Michael, given you've been away all week and you turned up this morning, early on a Saturday morning, thank you very much for coming and doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bravo.
And also for the sterling judgments that I delivered.
And the sterling judgments you delivered, particularly the demerit points. Adam, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Make sure you're following the podcast. Join us online on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. Normally, it doesn't go on for quite this long. I do apologise for that. Next week will be better. I'm Sean Aylmer, and that was the weekend edition of Fear and Greed Business News. Have a great weekend.